Father Michel Rodriguez speaks the truth about the warning, a call for spiritual readiness. Greetings to all our fellow Catholics. We are so glad to have you back with us on this channel. I pray that your day is filled with the peace and blessings of Christ. As we continue to navigate the complexities of our world, we invite you to watch this video to its conclusion, and don't forget to subscribe to stay informed on the most recent updates. Father Michel Rodriguez, a respected priest and mystic, has delivered a powerful and urgent message regarding what is often referred to as the warning. This message is not meant to inspire fear or panic, but rather to prompt deep reflection on our spiritual lives and the world around us. The warning is an event that will be experienced universally, felt by every person, regardless of faith or background. Father Rodriguez emphasizes that this event is not a prophecy tied to a specific date or a reason to fear, but instead a moment of divine mercy, a grace-filled opportunity for personal transformation. The purpose of the warning is to awaken humanity, especially in a time when many have become distant from spiritual truths. It is not a symbol of doom, but rather an invitation for all people to reflect on their lives, return to God, and renew their spiritual connection. The warning will appear in the sky, visible to all, and it will serve as a call to awaken our consciences and realize the state of the world today, where materialism, self-interest, and secularism have overtaken many people's lives, pushing faith and community values to the background. Father Michel Rodriguez's message highlights the spiritual crisis that is spreading across the world. In many places, especially in the West, societies are becoming increasingly divided, driven by individualism and secular thinking. This is not merely a time of political and social unrest, but a spiritual battle. The values that once bound families, communities, and nations together are now in disarray. Father Rodriguez reminds us that it's not just about physical wars or civil unrest. It's the battle for the soul of humanity that we are witnessing. And the time for healing, for conversion, is now. Father Rodriguez, along with other mystics and spiritual leaders, emphasizes that the warning is God's final invitation to his children. It is not a catastrophe or a punishment, but a gift of grace designed to bring about spiritual awakening before it is too late. This moment is not far off, it's closer than many realize. Father Michel stresses that this warning could occur in the next few months, not years. The urgency is palpable. It is critical to be spiritually prepared, for those who are not ready may miss this transformative opportunity. Rather than igniting fear, Father Rodriguez's message seeks to inspire conversion and a deeper reconciliation with God. The warning is meant to heal both individuals and societies. It is a chance to return to divine principles, values of compassion, faith, love, and hope that have been overshadowed by selfishness and material pursuits. It's a call for all of us to reflect on our lives, our actions, and our relationships with God and one another. Father Michel's teachings are deeply concerned with the state of the world today. He points to the increasing division within families, communities, and countries, emphasizing that these divisions are fueled by a growing spiritual crisis. The world, he says, has lost its spiritual compass, and it is time for us to realign ourselves with God's truth. The warning is the opportunity for that realignment. It is a divine moment where God, in his mercy, reaches out to each of us, calling us to turn back before the trials of life become too overwhelming. Father Michel Rodriguez reminds us that preparation for this moment is not just about physical survival, but spiritual readiness. This involves repenting, returning to God's grace, and embracing a life rooted in prayer, humility, and love. Now is the time to make peace with our faith, to purify our hearts, and to get spiritually prepared to face whatever may come. The warning is not just an event, it's a moment of personal awakening and a chance to become spiritually fortified for the days ahead. As we reflect on Father Rodriguez's urgent message, let us not be consumed by fear or dread, but rather, let us prepare our hearts and souls. This is a time of grace, an invitation to transform ourselves and come closer to God before it is too late. Let us embrace this opportunity to renew our relationship with the divine, knowing that God's love and mercy are always available to those who seek them. We are encouraged to prepare ourselves spiritually by turning to prayer, engaging in the sacraments, and living a life of integrity and holiness. By doing so, we can stand strong in the face of challenges, knowing that God's mercy will protect us and guide us through the difficulties ahead. The warning is God's final plea to his children to come back to him, to awaken from our spiritual slumber, and to prepare ourselves for the times that lie ahead. We appreciate you taking the time to watch this important message. What are your thoughts on the warning and its significance for us today? Please share your comments below, and remember to subscribe to our channel for more insights on this vital topic. May God bless you and keep you in His care as we prepare to meet the challenges of the future with faith and hope. Father Michel Rodrigues' urgent warning: the spiritual crisis and the Church's struggles in these times of global upheaval. It's easy to be overwhelmed by the external conflicts we see all around us: wars, political tensions, economic instability. However, Father Michel Rodrigues' message takes us deeper, urging us to reflect not just on external struggles, but on the personal and spiritual battles that are quietly dividing individuals, families, and even religious communities. Father Michel stresses that the greatest challenge facing us today is not merely the physical wars or social unrest, but the internal divisions that tear apart the very fabric of our society. These divisions are often caused by ideologies and worldviews that have led many away from the fundamental teachings of Christianity. The rise of materialism and individualism, particularly in Western nations like the United States, has left many people prioritizing personal success and material gain over spiritual growth, compassion, and unity. What's even more alarming is that this crisis isn't confined to one country. It's a global phenomenon. Across the world, consumerism and selfishness are spreading, driving people to seek fulfillment in things rather than in God. Father Michel calls this shift a spiritual crisis, one that is rooted in the loss of faith and hope in God's providence. As society becomes more focused on worldly comforts, the soul's deeper needs, the need for prayer, conversion, and sacrifice, are increasingly neglected. This growing detachment from God's teachings is what Father Michel believes is fueling our current cultural decay. His message is clear: only through sincere conversion and a return to prayer and sacrifice can we hope to restore the lost hope in the world today. This is the path to healing, both personally and collectively. Yet, Father Michel doesn't stop at a critique of society. He also draws attention to troubling issues within the Church itself. He warns that many church leaders have succumbed to worldly pressures and have drifted from the true teachings of Christ. These leaders, instead of guiding their flocks toward holiness, have allowed secular ideologies to infiltrate Catholic doctrine, leading people astray. In particular, Father Michel mentions figures like Father James Martin, who, in his view, have misrepresented the core tenets of the Catholic faith. By adopting and promoting ideologies that contradict the gospel, these leaders risk distorting the Church's identity and role in the world. The Church, which should be a beacon of truth and light in a darkened world, is in danger of becoming just another institution that reflects worldly values rather than divine ones. Father Michel's concerns echo the prophetic warnings given by the Virgin Mary at Garabandal, where she foretold that many priests, bishops, and even cardinals would mislead the faithful. This prophecy, which once seemed distant, now feels more relevant than ever as divisions continue to grow within the Church. The current state of confusion and misunderstanding within the Vatican and across the global Church seems to align with the dire warnings from the past. Of particular significance is Father Michel's mention of the Synod in Rome. He believes that this upcoming event could play a pivotal role in the future of the Church. According to Father Michel, this synod may address critical issues that could affect not only the direction of the Church, but also the broader world. He even hints at a prophecy from Garabandal, which predicted the holding of an important synod before the warning, suggesting that this synod could be a turning point for both the faithful and the world at large. Father Michel's message is not just a call to recognize the external signs of the times, but also a plea to look inward, to our personal spiritual lives, our relationship with God, and the state of the Church. The warning is clear: we are in a time of great spiritual warfare, and our preparedness, both individually and collectively, is crucial. This crisis is an opportunity for us to return to the heart of our faith, to rediscover the values that once united communities, and to stand firm in our commitment to God's truth. The warning that Father Michel speaks of, along with the prophecies of the Virgin Mary, calls us to spiritual vigilance, to a deep and sincere conversion, and to an unwavering devotion to prayer, fasting, and sacrifice. These are the tools we must use to navigate the challenges ahead. We are not helpless in this time of crisis. Through prayer, through the sacraments, and through the unity of the faithful, we can overcome the divisions that threaten to tear us apart. Father Michel urges us to prepare ourselves spiritually, to resist the temptations of materialism, and to embrace the teachings of Christ with renewed zeal. The time is now. As Father Michel says, the warning is drawing near, and those who are spiritually ready will be protected. This message is both a challenge and an invitation to stand firm in our faith, to protect the integrity of the Church, and to prepare for the transformative moment that is coming. The power of conversion, prayer, and unity will be our shield against the growing darkness in the world. Let us heed these warnings and work together to restore faith, hope, and charity in our lives and in our communities. Father Michel, Rodrigue's call for prayer, vigilance, and spiritual preparation in a time of profound spiritual crisis. Father Michel Rodrigue offers a message of hope, urging the faithful to hold fast to their faith, even as the Church faces significant challenges. While acknowledging the difficulties the Church is undergoing, Father Michel does not believe that all its leaders and members are entirely mistaken. Rather than casting judgment, he calls on the faithful to pray for their leaders, to remain steadfast in their faith, and to continue living out the teachings of Christ and the apostles. This period of trial is, according to Father Michel, a time for discernment, prayer, and vigilance, especially as the world and the Church stand on the brink of a new spiritual awakening. Father Michel's most urgent appeal is for spiritual preparation, and he stresses that the warning, often seen as a moment of divine intervention, is an act of divine mercy, not a threat to be feared. The warning is a gift, not a punishment. It is an invitation from God to all his children to turn back to him, to reflect deeply on their relationship with him, and to prepare their hearts and souls for the challenges ahead. This is not a time for speculation or fear over specific dates or events, but a time for serious self-reflection and spiritual renewal. Father Michel encourages each person to use this period to take a deep spiritual inventory, to examine if we are living according to God's will, or if we have become distracted by the world's fleeting pleasures. He invites us to ask ourselves, are we prioritizing our relationship with God over worldly concerns? Are we living lives of holiness, pursuing peace with God and with each other? The warning calls us to leave behind the distractions that pull us away from our Creator and to focus instead on our spiritual growth and preparation. The path of spiritual preparation is one of prayer, repentance, and sacramental participation. Father Michel emphasizes the importance of frequenting the sacraments, especially confession and the Holy Eucharist, and the necessity of living in a state of grace. We are encouraged to shun sin, to live in holiness, and to develop a lifestyle of prayer and penance. True preparation for the warning involves a profound inner transformation, a humbling of the heart, a genuine repentance, and a deeper love for God. Father Michel reminds us that the exact timing of the warning is unknown, just as the moment of death and judgment remains a mystery. However, he stresses that this uncertainty should not breed fear or panic, but should inspire a greater sense of urgency in our spiritual lives. The warning is not something to be feared, but embraced as an opportunity to make peace with God and to return to him in humility. It is a divine opportunity for reconciliation, a final call to conversion before the final judgment. The message of Father Michel is ultimately one of hope and trust in God's providence. Though the warning may bring about difficult times, it is not to be seen as a punishment, but as a divine act of mercy. This is God's final invitation to humanity to turn away from sin and embrace his love and forgiveness. It is not a moment to despair, but a moment to reconcile, to return to the truth, and to rediscover the path of righteousness. Father Michel's message serves as a reminder that God desires the salvation of all his children, and that his love will always be greater than our failings. As we face the coming trials, we are encouraged to view the warning, not as an impending disaster, but as an opportunity for spiritual renewal, a chance for individuals and societies to change their ways, to seek God's mercy, and to return to their faith. Father Michel calls on us to embrace the warning with compassion and grace, trusting in God's plan and his infinite love. It is a moment to come together as faithful believers, to support one another in prayer, and to be spiritually prepared for the challenges that lie ahead. Father Michel's words are not just a call to pray, but to act, to live out our faith with courage and conviction in these turbulent times. The warning is a moment of grace, and by preparing our hearts and souls, we can face whatever lies ahead with hope, confidence, and unshakable trust in God's love. Let us continue this journey together, strengthening one another in faith, prayer, and unity as we wait for the coming of this divine moment. May these words inspire and uplift you as we stand united in our shared journey of faith. May we find strength in our commitment to God, knowing that His love will sustain us through the challenges to come.